This is why I gotta get some sort of. I'm looking for a computer guide to start editing our videos over when we actually post them, so that we've got someone who can cut out all of our dicking around in the beginning. Great. I know that Richard's got a guy who he wants to meet, but he just hasn't been down yet.
Graham was saying he knew some kid named
Check, check,
Huh? You were saying somebody about Caleb
check.
the other night? Who? For computer editing person for.
Richard's got somebody he's bringing in.
Oh yeah, Caleb. Yeah.
Check, 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 check. I
Yeah.
think I can hear myself now. Check, check, check.
If I'm gonna do the didgeridoo thing, then I'm probably gonna have to sit on one of the sides, just because.
Yeah. Well, you would be able to move around. That's why I'm giving you the long ones. Check, check, check. Okay. Check, check, check. I'm not quite sure how he has. That one's wired to there. What is this wired into? Nothing? Or.
Check, check. I got check on this. I can hear it.
Let me try the wireless mics really quick. You take this set because that's the long set.
Oh,
Not
yeah.
those terrible short ones. I've got an extender, but that one's the more durable extender.
Check, check. Yeah. There's one wireless behind you, and then this one.
Yeah, because I should have them. I'm not sure what this mic here.
Check, 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 check.
Check,
Check, check, check.
I'm not sure. I don't want to dick with that, but if the two wireless are working. Check.
Check, check, check. What line?
I do not know yet.
Check, check. Oh, there, I got it.
You got
It
it?
sounds
Okay, might just
pretty
take a
good.
second.
They just take a second to turn on. The button's like a weird impress button.
Yes. Yeah, if you look up live, if you go to Studio 420, if you start this. What did you. Oh. I still. Okay. I don't think I've turned this on. How did you turn that one on?
There was an impressed button.
I thought I. Check, check, check.
Line 2. Check, check. It takes a second. Check, check.
Check, check.
Seems good to me.
Alright, so it's only. Check, check, check. Actually, that one's doing okay too.
Yeah. Check, check, check. This one sounds a little higher than everyone else.
Yeah, I don't quite.
Check, 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 check. Check, 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 check. This one has more body.
Okay, well, you try. You determine which one you think is going to be best for your stuff there, because I don't
Check,
know.
check, check, check.
Mike's the one that knows how to adjust more of this stuff. I'm gonna. Yeah,
This one sounds like an audio mic. Like for an instrument.
So what we can do is we can. Where's my? Here, just a sec. I got a better mic stand for you to use for downstairs.
Yeah, I just wanted to see it for a second with the mic.
Is that a shorty one? That's like a low down mic. Way better with. Yeah, and we can always. I can't find my low down mic stuff. You need to adjust this so it's low to the ground or whatever. Just ask me loosen his stands off completely before adjusting them. The things I learned.
always use my big tablet.
Oh yeah, I just have my phone up here. I shed my stuff on it. I'm in the middle of shedding my stuff.
How goes it, buddy? Looking sharp today. I bought this felt like rainbow like paint, kind of like sky, not like rainbow color.
Like
Was,
the
but like
flash.
yeah, yeah, and it's like rainbow colored all over the studs. And I was like, cool.
I've been thinking of doing this though. The killing the smalls.
Oh, okay.
Sandlot.
Nice, nice, nice. Okay.
And someone else freaked out about the font and stuff.
Yeah, I want to take all those studs off and flip them on like this. Or like something else, a bag or something.
That is
Studs, studs, always studs.
God
Brass
featuring Chris
studs, I love
Cappy.
them.
We can sit there and play something?
Yep.
No.
Me?
No.
Music?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant
Yeah.
right here.
Plug
I
in
don't
right
know where
here.
this is playing from.
Oh, drop it in.
I'll make myself useful for
This lake of fire.
Alright, that was probably going, and I gotta wait for the podcast to catch up.
Cheers.
bottles, boxes, measure. Going glass for food.
Probably make things a little easier.
Faster too.
Like you guys.
It's okay for an impromptu.
So what's
Yeah.
what's the nail by the time like what's the ideal temperature?
Whatever the
I think, oh, I need to get it before we go forward.
I'm just gonna pop outside for a second.
Yeah, you do what you need to do.
Drain from the Harewood mine.
Just wait for it to heat up, so yeah.
Pop outside for
Yeah. The only reason we have the cooler here is because we need to sort out our plumbing and
That
this
is
place.
God featuring
Yeah.
Chad.
Are those Norse? Are those Norse?
Hold the slacks.
Yeah, no, yeah, I saw them. Walk up. Yeah. And now you have two guys going up. Jams going on. I bet you guys will be
I will do four dabs. I'll do a dab of each of these before you get back.
Hey, is guidance band playing here?
I hope to get Overmore in.
Alright.
We're getting together, we're having a meeting for a benefit concert for Chris Turtle,
Okay.
who had the stroke last week, so we're gonna hope to do that March 11th. It's a really last minute thing when a person is like in need of a
What time
benefit.
is it open till, like 2 in the morning or something?
We don't know, we like to close, because we don't have an alcohol license and we smoke a lot of pot here, we like to close down before the cops start doing bar patrol. It's probably gonna be an all day benefit from like noon till 11 at night. I mean, stoners need to start early. Yeah, right.
Alright, have a good day.
Or else they
Awesome.
won't get
Hope to see
started
you
at
again.
all.
Oh yeah.
stuff for these guys. I came back from my bong for us stuff.
Do like that little swirly one.
Yeah, I was gonna say that rig is a lot smoother than the one now. Yeah, for sure. It's a lot easier to take. That is a good point. Should we go get charged? Sure. Alright. Wow, realistic then. Yeah. No doubt. I'm gonna definitely be back. So for sure, thank you very much. Yeah. Yeah, we'll just come and check out some shows. Yeah, we will.
I'm not gonna stick around.
Sunday
for
we
the
have
podcast.
Nerd Day.
We gotta do some charting.
Charting for some gigs.
Okay.
Yeah.
But next time, anytime this goes on, now that we know it
We
exists.
have a benefit concert coming up for Turtle
Okay.
that we are plotting out for March the 11th. So
March
there'll be Pistol
Yeah, I'll
Whips
be here.
Oh, yeah,
and
Pistol Whips.
stuff are gonna be headlining and stuff, but it's gonna be like a noon till 10 o'clock event.
Oh,
So
damn.
I don't know
We'll
what your
definitely
guys'
be
band or anything like that, but we're gonna have the meeting. If you want to recommend your band, maybe shoot some information over there
Yeah,
though.
perfect.
After because it's a bunch of his friends who know him really well, who are
Yeah.
and they're all who are his. But we're gonna have with guests all day.
Cool.
So if you want to get on the with guest
Yeah.
roster and come in and play
There you go.
like a song or two.
The Jingle Potheads.
We'll talk to.
Yeah.
One of our bands is the Jingle Potheads.
Yeah, and it's all been. I got my staff coming in for free, all the door, and everything is going to help him because he's like a younger guy, really forced, and just had a stroke and is laid up in the
Yeah.
fucking hospital. So
Oh shit.
Okay.
yeah, so yeah, you just make sure you get you some information and fucking when we have our meeting tomorrow, I'll bring up that if you want to come in as with guests, I'm gonna
Okay, we better
probably gonna come in as a
Yeah.
yeah.
Is Brett available? Are you available?
March 11th.
Well, you mean noon till 10. We've got 10 hours worth of like benefit concert style farm aid shit to fill out. So there'll be gig spots for a lot of people that come up and just fucking
Gotta save them in town.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you let me know and whatever you may, you know what I mean. Or if you got get some shit together, just still come down and check it out too.
We'll definitely be there either way.
March
Yeah.
11th.
Yeah. It's really impromptu.
okay,
We
we're
finished
over.
our show last night and we're like,
You're
fuck
kinda
this.
over?
This
Yeah,
is what
we're
we're
kinda
getting
over.
to. So but either way, still come check it out though if
Yeah.
you're in town.
Yeah.
I'm in
right.
town. Me and
Yeah.
Brett are in town, so maybe there's something we can still throw together.
Yeah.
But I'll let you know as soon as I know. I haven't talked to Brett today.
Well, we're gonna
Yeah.
we'll talk to him too.
Yeah. Awesome, man. I
Thanks, man.
appreciate that, guys.
No problem.
We'll see
We
you again.
appreciate it.
Cheers.
Fuck yeah. You have a good day.
You got me too.
Oh, come on, beverage. Can you not shut that down? Need a beverage and
Try one of the resins. I mean, one of the other ones.
That's all you to make me hot chocolate with whipped cream in it. Please, we're gonna sit down and start this. Would you like a drink? I would love to hot chocolate. You just I don't have coffee, I have hot chocolate. I'll just have a hot chocolate. You're guessing the podcast.
This one.
Yeah, just make it out of our stash. Don't use the 75 cent ones for that. Oh my god, there's one more little extension cord.
Don't forget to fucking that security camera.
So you tried one?
Bosses.
I already tried that in the pawn shop. That's what we got.
Oh, there it is.
I forgot that I had stuff. Is it?
I'll give you some hot chocolate.
Did that one?
Or if you want a cold drink, just ask during the podcast.
That one has like more than that.
We'll just holla at Randa, make her get us stuff, you know?
It's like the one. Sure that temp.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick up a file tonight from my brother's tools and deal with stuff. Okay.
You guys don't want to set the dab rig up there? Let's do it.
We got some dabs here. I got a dab rig over here heating up.
Well, yeah, we
They
got-
step in,
we
they can
got
definitely have a
something
dab.
over there.
Let me get our sound check. People are more than welcome to come in and out as we go. So check. Oh.
Are you doing the podcast?
Check.
Check.
Sitting around, maybe play some music, do some dabs.
Hi Mike.
Check.
Check.
Doing some character sheeting.
Check. Huh. Check.
I got an app for that.
Check.
I do too. I need to pick up a sheet for my niece, the second character, and then we have her friend coming to join us tomorrow as well.
I am not
So I need to grab 2 full character sheets.
Wearing the wrong headphones. Hello. We're up on the live chat. I think today we're going to be giving away a bit of the soap that Norm makes. Truth is, I traded him some joints for it. Thank you, Randa. Lovely Randa bringing some hot chocolate. Please let me know how the sound is over the live chat. I think we're okay for today. I checked it. Norm's just getting his gear ready, and he's going to come over and take a seat. We'll just start chatting. If anybody wants to pop by the studio, participate in the chat or whatever. All right. Okay. He's just going to get ready here. And I'm just doing one more post up to the group there. Unless somebody already posted it for me in the Studio 420, but... Sorry about the dead air at the beginning. We're going to get somebody who can edit these things out. Norm, why don't you come on in and have a seat, buddy? Yeah, grab your headphones. You are the main guest today. So, yeah, I've just been waiting for you to start. I think we have a... So Norm plays the didgeridoo in and around town. I got to watch and make sure that I don't accidentally knock this...
That will work.
Let's make sure we don't put liquids on the same table, really, as the soundboard and the dab mat.
Great idea.
Okay.
So I guess I'm going to be rocking this microphone?
That's a pretty good one. Yeah, you take that one out. I think the one beside you is there, too, so I'm not sure how your whole didgeridoo setup's going to work best. That's why we've got the 2 mics in case it's like...
Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
probably flip this one in for my talking and toss this one down for a didgeridoo or something.
Yeah, that sounds good. Whichever one you want. Pick a mic.
Pick a mic.
Pick a mic. Yeah, you can go and talk, Mike. These stands are adjustable. I think you understand how a microphone stand works. I think you've been in the music industry for longer than mine, in the industry, Nanaimo.
It's just the camera thing. I'm not too.
There you go. Yeah, you want to talk into the mic, maybe be like a couple. There you go. Yeah, into the front. I think we're good. I can hear you good through my headphones.
Yeah, I can hear myself a little bit. Sound weird. I've never actually really worked too much with microphones and stuff like that. I've mostly just jammed on my didgeridoo out in public and been like an acoustic didgeridoo player, I guess.
Well, I mean, like, is there an electric didgeridoo?
That'd be a great concept. Like, run a whole bunch of bass strings on there.
And now he's thinking on it. He's going to go home, get really stoned, come back tomorrow. I need an electrical engineer, some copper wire. I'm pretty sure there's some people in this neighborhood that can help you find copper wire. If you need. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself there, buddy, and tell us what you do. I'll get the dabbing on the go, and you can give us a bit of a self-biography.
Well, pretty much I'm a didgeridoo player that's traveled across Canada. I have a lot of friends that I've met during that time that have expanded my repertoire of different little things that I find eclectically awesome. I'm a nerd foremost. I love every music genre from yodeling to hip hop to etc.
So can you cross them? Can you hip hop yodel?
I can beatbox with this weird voice, but I can't yodel. I wish.
Have you seen the Big Dogs TV where the nerdy guys go into Compton and just throw down?
Yeah.
Oh my God, yeah, Big Dogs TV. If you guys check it out on YouTube, they are hilarious. It's just like one's like a 6.5 foot tall gargantuan nerd, and the other guy is like his little midgety friend. And one freestyle raps like the greatest, and the little dude does the most insane beatboxing.
If I'm right, the little guy is called Futuristic or something.
I do believe so. We really need to get a fact checker. We've got a tech guy who's coming in. Richard's got a tech guy who he's got interviewed, who's coming down, who will be our pulling things up and doing our fact checker stuff and everything like that.
I'm just having a hard time visualizing where the theoretical place where I'm supposed to look at all the other people that are watching.
No, we just look at each other. It's natural. There's like a fourth wall. That's why we have some people out over there, right? I mean, theoretically, we're packed behind the camera. You can't see it, but there's like 40 people over there, all being really quiet. Okay, well, let's give you a quick dab here. Let's see what we have going on from the dab mat. And so, how long have you been playing didgeridoo?
Since I was 12 years old, actually. I had a friend that saw me in a bad position and didn't want me to just do nothing and give up. So they taught me how to play didgeridoo. I got the first little sound that sounded like the worst fart you've ever seen,
Oh, nice.
and I was addicted. I pretty much smoked some weed, played every day, and yeah. Now it's like part of my life. It's almost my blankie, man. I don't go any of the. No one has not seen me without my didgeridoo.
Yeah, you've brought two of them with me. Now we were on the way over here, and you were scoping yards out and looking at people's like cut off trees and stuff. And you're like, oh, didgeridoo. So my understanding, you've made the ones you have here.
Yeah, well, I had a friend give me an actual real didgeridoo, a eucalyptus eaten out by termites, beautiful thing with wax. He brought it from Australia. He had to pay over $1,000 just to get it on the plane, and I had it all for a week. And then I was traveling. One cold night, I went to play it. It warmed up, and then it cooled down, and it snapped. And then it was like my livelihood, the way of making money, just sounded airy, broken, and this beautiful gift that I should have cared about. And I didn't want to have a real one until I could afford a real one. And so I found that PVC works pretty well.
Well, I mean, like, what's your definition of real though? Because I physically see two tubes over there that make some pretty gnarly sounds. They seem
Yeah.
pretty real to me in the now.
Well, I guess the word I was looking for, like traditionally authentic.
Authentic. Well, here, take your dab. Critical mass. Critical mass. Available on Dab Bar here.
Ooh, that's tasty.
Yeah, I quite like that bong. It draws like a pencil. Now, that's unfortunate what happened to your didgeridoo. You know, there's if you ever watch Antiques Roadshow, you see all these people that have these really old European antiques that came from like the coast of Europe, and then they hauled them across the ocean on a ship, and then moved them inland to the prairies where the wood was not, and it totally changed them. So I could see how a wood that was native to a much different climate would not fare up so well here. That sucks.
Yeah. And then I found a PVC tube that kind of worked, and my friend joked around. He's like, "Hey, try and play it," and I did.
Oh, apparently our mics are a little bit too low. I think I can turn these up over here on the board. Hello? Hello?
Oh yeah, that sounds a lot better, but it's peaking a little bit on the board.
Oh, okay, I'll take it down a little bit. How's that?
Looks good on the board.
Okay, I'm just going to update the live chat people because they're a couple minutes behind.
Mhm.
So I want them to know that we are paying attention to them. That's why they join the live chat. I mean, besides to win things. So I hopefully get some feedback from them that we have. Oh, not that board. I think I'm being schooled through the live chat by Richard. So I think that we might need to adjust them on the board at the back there. This is where I need to. I mean, I'm trying to learn the soundboard the best of my ability. 1 second. I'm about to leave, go over there, and touch stuff. Hold it down for a second. Is the table gonna fly off? Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Let the didgeridoo for a while.
These only things that are up, so I think it might be some of them. There's only 4 I have 4 active knobs over there, and I just moved all of them up a little bit. So more, better, good. Hopefully that has fixed it. I'm learning these things slowly. You have to remember, we consume a lot of marijuana. Oh, and it looks like he's gotten to the business end of this. So, are these both PVC? Oh.
This one's melted over a stove just to give it a texture. It bubbles up a bit.
Oh, okay. Oh, I think we fixed it. I'm getting a bunch of thumbs upses. Oh, okay. I think we fixed it. I'm getting the thumbs upses. Okay. So let me try and facilitate this for you. What do we need here, Norm?
This mic here, which I can have
Right.
down there.
I think we're in for a treat here now. I think they're both plugged in, but
Yeah, I think so.
I heard that coming through there. All right. That is a pretty intense face you make while you are doing that.
Yeah.
So there's some breathing technique that goes in there?
Yeah, there's a technique called circular breathing where you use the air capacity that you have left in your reservoir.
Wow.
It's kind of like constantly topping up, like the water's always flowing in.
All right. Wow. Wow, that's pretty good. I'm going to maybe move that mic down just a little bit more, too.
Just a touch.
Oh, I think I tapped the tap rig a little bit with my cord as I went over. Have to be careful. Okay. So, do you do like breathing exercises during the day? Do you practice like opera singers do a lot of deep breathing and such?
Well, I also do beatboxing and stuff like that. So most of the time, I try not to make it an exercise. I just jam out with myself in the morning. When I go for my shower or my morning like exercises, I usually beatbox during it and work my way up, clear the dust, if you know what I mean, from the night.
Oh, okay. So just you beatbox to yourself in the shower.
Yeah.
Your neighbors must find this quite interesting to hear this through the walls.
Yeah, probably.
I hope that we can get a demonstration of your beatboxing too. You're gonna have to pull the mic in close on that one, though. We want to hear that really well. And there's a lot of Cannabis Club stickers on your didgeridoo.
Well, I support what I love.
Suits and ties and smoking weed indoors.
Yeah. Beatbox. That's something that I usually don't do for other people, but
Nobody's here. It's just you and me. I mean, like, we're in a very intimate setting. All those 40 people I was talking about before, they're completely imaginary. Although, as I was saying the other week, I have imaginary friends that cause me completely real problems.
yes, I know that all too well. Okay. I've never really worked with a mic, so I'm just more afraid of that than anything.
Well, I think you can pull the mic back a little bit and just do what you naturally do. Okay, now that That was pretty insane. Like, okay, I've seen like Xavier Rudd on videos, who he's got like 3 didgeridoos and stuff going, and he does some singing and stuff. Do you have any plans to combine the didgeridoo and the beatbox into some sort of fusion?
I would really like to. Well, there's a technique with didgeridoos that you can do, which is beat diging or
Ooh.
digboxing.
Digiboxing.
It's kind of the same concept as work the same way, but I'm shy at that.
Yeah, I mean, like, you're doing something that is completely amazing to me. Okay, like,
Well-
and I'm not the most musically knowledgeable person around here, but I think the sound you're making, I'm pretty gnarly.
But most of like how I got good was just sitting around smoking weed with my friends and them going, "Hey, try and say this," or "Try and say this," and if the live stream would like, try and say something. Like, give me something to say. We'll update in a little while, and
Okay, so yeah, on the live chat here, give us a sentence or a statement or a topic or a word or something like that, and we will try and see if Norm can convert it into a beatbox. It's gonna be pretty gnarly. Now I'm interested in, you mentioned yodeling.
yodeling. Like I like to be eclectic and look at a lot of different music styles and pull for things that I like. And yodeling's got this like high yick, like a way of pulling your throat and being able to like really build the muscles in your throat there to be able to get the high pitch points, and just like the way they bellow is I find it so crazy. I suck at it. I use just like little techniques from it to like change my voice and do ventriloquism and
Okay.
like the voice when I'm beatboxing, like
Yeah, that's good, Mike.
1, 2, 3.
like things like that.
You know, I don't think I've ever heard 2 beatboxers that sound alike. It's almost like a fingerprint,
Yeah.
like a vocal fingerprint with you guys, right?
Well, I definitely like that's me from copying Razelle. Like I'm a big Wu-Tang hip hop fan. Like give me the Shaolin any day. And so Razelle was his old beat. That beat there got me addicted to beatboxing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, most definitely.
You seem to get addicted to a lot of audio stuff. You're addicted to didgeridooing. You're addicted to beatboxing.
Part of why I use cannabis and part of why I am who I am today is I have a writing disability. I have a hard time getting things out physically with my hands. Graphic skills, it's hard for it's like hieroglyphics every single time
Okay.
for
okay.
me. But talking, hearing, reading, music in itself, I can talk better than I can write. So it just kind of like I guess in the same way you have less in one place, something else fills the gap.
Oh, well, no, I mean, and that's awesome because the level of communication you get out with music is, it's almost like how octopus communicate with colors or whatever. You got a more direct tap on your feelings. You're not trying to awkwardly. I mean, the English language is kind of a piece of shit, anyways. I mean,
what else? The English language is rife with duality and little paradoxes that we play with every single day, like the concept of UFO.
yeah.
Unidentified flying object. You just named it. It's identified now.
Oh.
You just mooted yourself.
Oh, shit. Yeah, I do like the inconsistencies in our language like that. I like to point weird shit out like that all the time, and now nothing will come to my mind. Like, why is abbreviation such a long word? Like, just, I often question, why did we start making 5 and 6 letter words when all the 3 and 4 letter words haven't been used up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like how non-hyphenated is hyphenated and
Yeah, I mean, apparently English is really hard for people to learn as a second language because it's just ass backwards, right? The Chinese have the most interesting language. Part of what's kept them as an empire is their kanji, their written language, is written the same all over China, but it's spoken completely different. So a person who speaks Mandarin and a person that speaks Cantonese can't speak verbally, but they write the same language. So it allowed people in the furthest southern parts of China to communicate with people in the northern parts and hold their empire together, right, through their kanji writing.
Well,
Mike.
I've also like always found it a weird concept because I also speak pretty fluent French. But the one concept that I've never really got from that language down is how am I supposed to tell if this table is a guy or a girl?
Oh,
Like the masculine, feminine.
did
for
you just
everything?
assume the table's gender?
Exactly. Exactly. That language is rife with like le, la, everything.
Well, don't they already have a bunch of Z's in there? So, and maybe all furniture can identify as Z table. Oh wait, that sounds pretty German. Hey?
Yeah. Table.
Z table. Put the sausages on the table. Nobody who speaks German can be bad though. It says the Bart, the. I love classic Simpsons stuff.
I was having a conversation with somebody else about that some cultures didn't even have a concept of future sight in their language at one point, and I'm not I don't know the actual culture itself, but they were explaining that the way it bred their mentality to not have a word for future or to do later or that concept, it was only in the sense of now their language.
Okay, so like living in the now. I can see how like you either end up being a very nihilistic culture, there is no future. We all live now and then we die and we rot now. All right, but then there's like, I should get it done. I don't know what tomorrow's going to hold.
Yeah.
Right? I know I've got today to accomplish that. Tomorrow could get eaten by a shark, tidal wave. Who knows? Right?
What was my friend asked me what was the weirdest concept for you to ever understand, and me it was like really something really benign,
Oh,
like that the chicken cross the road thing.
okay.
It took me about until the age of 21 to realize that was a suicide joke, like a death joke. That to
Oh.
get to the other side.
Wow. Okay, you know what? I think I'm just realizing the dark. What the fuck?
It's either he gets to the other side or he gets to the other side.
Shit. I guess the chicken does get fucked over in a lot of those jokes,
Yeah.
right? Or at least all the good ones.
For me, it was just, oh, he just gets to the other side for the longest point. I didn't see past that point. And that's been kind of like my way of looking at music and a lot of different things. It's like, did I get the whole concept? It's kind of been my motivating thing from that point on. It's like something benign, and like, oh, a joke that I didn't get. And
Well, it's interesting that you have about music, and I think this is why older music gets resampled so much, is because it means different things to different generations. I mean, when the lyrics were written, different things were going on in the world. And then when new generations listen to them, they take lyrics that were written maybe 20 or 30 years ago, or riffs or whatever, and then they resample them because they say something different to that person based on their life experiences growing up, right? So it's there's no right and wrong way, I guess, to interpret music unless you're some sort of hipster rock snob asshole. Right? What was that joke you told me earlier about hipsters? I really like this one.
it's the epitome of hipsters. How did the hipster burn himself?
How did the hipster burn himself?
Well, he drank his coffee before it was cool.
We better get them a nice salve for that. Oh, it's an entire generation.
Don't worry,
Shit.
they sell it at the counter.
Oh.
We serve hipsters here too.
Yes, we serve them with a mean dose of reality.
But we do have medicated selves.
I wish they would stop taking things I liked as a child and ordering them on Amazon and then ruining them for me.
Oh.
I just
Like
please.
I really like lunch boxes. Don't take those from me.
I had the cops, so I was going to Soundwave out in Euclid, the last Soundwave. It went for 10 years, and I managed to get to the last one. Well, we're going into the rave and we're smoking a massive joint, and I've got all this money on me for this rave and stuff, but I've got my lunchbox with all my drug paraphernalia in it, and we drive behind a cop hiding behind a bush who actually knows me from the resort I worked out there. So he searches the van because of the joint smell, takes our 1/2 ounce of weed, which he was super impressed by. But he didn't get the other 1/2 ounce of weed because he doesn't know how big of stoners we are. Most people, a 1/2 ounce of weed is good enough for 3 days, right? He apologizes, but he goes through my lunchbox, and in it there is. I'm going to let people fill in the blanks in their imagination with the sort of things a person takes into a lunchbox to go to a 3-day rave. But he goes, "What's all of this?" And I go, "Well, I'm going to a fucking rave, dude." So he let me take the rave tickets out. He impounded our van and let us grab our backpack. All that was in the backpack was a carton of cigarettes, $300 worth of beads, and glow sticks. And all the food was stuck in the van, all the beer. But you got to prioritize. We figured we could find food and beer inside the rave. And then I've got like fucking almost $3,000 in small bills. So peace, we leave the van, we go in. But I go to the cop shop on the Monday to get my stuff back, my license, because he took my one license. Good thing he didn't know about my second license. I don't think that's a crime. The one I kept at home and then had to go back and get. And so I got my license back and go, "Dude, can I have my lunchbox?" And he's like, "No, it was full of drug paraphernalia." I go, "Yeah, but the lunchbox is just a lunchbox. You get the fuck out of my police station." He says to me. Right? And that was the last one I ever owned, actually.
Oh.
You outgrow having a lunchbox full of various drug accessories at a certain age, right?
Or you plan it for an event and you it's like a survival kit that you find.
Well, so there was this hippie on the beach wearing like a fucking Cat in the Hat style hat and a fur vest, and he's walking right by 4 cops who are on this sweltering hot beach in the middle of summer at this rave, but they're in their full gear vests and everything. And his lunchbox, he should have bought a better one because the latch comes undone and just dumps a bunch of drugs on the sand in front of these cops. I'm sitting on a rock watching a chick dance naked with seaweed, stoned on acid because the middle of the afternoon smoking a joint. And all of a sudden you see the hippie coming, and the rave parts like Moses at the Red Sea, but without actually noticing the hippie or paying any attention to him. But then as the 4 cops already sweating their bags off chasing this guy across the beach go, everybody seems to magically close back together and not notice them coming and bump into every single cop chasing this poor hippie as the hippie sheds clothes like a motherfucker so that they can't identify him, right? I'm pretty sure that dude got away.
Oh man, it's funny. Funny. I was thinking back about all the different like weird, dumb stories that at the time were like, they were like heart beating. Don't know how the situation's gonna go down. But then after the little nostalgia sense kicks in, and you look back on those things, it's like, holy crap, was that stupid thing a character building exercise? Holy shit!
We didn't even stop smoking the joint. We're like, "Hey, there goes a hippie. Hey, there goes 4 cops." Note to self: there's cops here. That was an interesting rave. By then, the funny thing is so the cop impounds the vehicle for 24 hours, and that's where we were going to sleep. Now we have to hitchhike back into Euclid and pick up the thing we're camping in for the rest of the weekend. Except we've had nowhere to sleep all night, and we've been at a rave, so that was also fun. Getting the van back, it magically made it from town back to the rave without anybody I know driving it impaired. It's like it flew there in a haze.
The amount of stories of. There was one time that I was going with friends, and we were going across Canada for a trip, and
Musically related?
sort of. It was we were going to Toronto to meet up with a few other artists and a few other people to just jam and kind of have a fun. Have. Yeah. Me and Eddie Riggs. The ultimate roadie. Yeah, we were on our way in a car, like 3 of my friends, to Toronto because we wanted to go jam and busk in Toronto, and we've never done that. I've done Quebec, I've done Montreal, I've done and we got about, I think it was Revelstoke, or I think it was Revelstoke, or just around Golden, Revelstoke, Lake Louise, and that area. I'm not too sure exactly where. but we got stopped by a cop, and the
Ooh.
whole thing smelt of weed, and we were supposed to be going to the next location to like I think we were supposed to go back to Medicine Hat for something. Um, uh, well, look, long story short, the cop pulls us over. We have a whole bunch of weed in the back, and that's pretty much all we really had.
I work in a
at-
dispensary. What's your definition of a whole bunch of weed?
like enough to bring to the East Coast.
Okay.
Yeah.
So on a scale of 1 to 10 of a whole bunch of weed, we call it like a 4?
I call it a 6.
A 6. Oh, okay. Like a 6.
Six for a sedan. Six
six-
for a sedan.
6 for a sedan. Okay, so like on a scale of 1 to 10, that guy they just busted in the States with 64 pounds of crystal meth in his trunk. Oh my God, that's like a 10.
That's a 10.
Oh my God.
Me, it's more like a 50 pounds of like pressed down weed. It's
Oh.
like going across Canada.
Pressed down weed.
Like pressed into bricks. like
Oh, we've got the live rosin press over there. I know you picked up some nice weed from Cannabis Club down at 25 Front Street that you were going to press.
yes.
Kingston recommended you a really nice nugget. What was it?
I will go grab it.
Oh fuck! Make sure you take your headphones off. I'll have a dab for you when you get back. See, we have this lovely thing called a rosin press, where you take your weed and there's a little prep work involved. I think maybe we can get it on the camera here later, and then you put it between parchment and it presses and heats it, forcing out all of this resin. Live rosin? No, I think the live one comes from when you actually do it while the plant has like just been cut, like the living lettuce version of it. But and then it heats up the weed too, giving you these chips that you can also eat. Because my understanding of it is you can't just take weed off of the thing and eat it. You need to heat it to activate it, and then you get fucked up. So when you press the weed in the rosin press, it squirts it all out to the sides, and with no solvents or anything, you get a very oily awesomeness substance that you can smoke the shit out of. Ho 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 ho.
I was going to press the Blueberry AK.
Okay, here, why don't you let me see that? I'm going to hold it up to the camera so people can see the lovely product that you got from 25 Front Street.
And I showed you the other one if I didn't sit on it.
Mike.
Then I got the Pink Bubba.
When will we invent smell-o-vision?
Oh man, I wish.
You know, considering you were going to press this anyways,
Yeah.
I think it was what Kingston was saying that you want to take the stem out. I got to put my headphones back
He pre-stemmed most of them
on. Okay.
and got the choice nugs for it, and and then I do a little prep by removing the stem inside, pressing into the smallest ball that I can, and then then the machine does its magic. And considering they have an amazing machine at this location, the magic is pretty magical.
And Kingston is really, really professional about his job down there at the dispensary. I mean, all of the bud tenders down there are professional, but Kingston presses more weed than anybody I know, and he's got an eye for the ones that are going to press out nice.
He's definitely an enthusiast about it. He looks at the moisture values and definitely the strains of the flowers, and also how the flower is packed, and he'll send you the right things.
I got to talk to him about starting a blog or like a vlog. We could do like a YouTube vlog about him pressing weeds out and then commenting later on his impressions of
Like the cannabisaur.
yeah. Well, John, Randa's husband, has a diary that he has been writing out very religiously about weeds. He buys a new weed every day, and he takes it home at night, and he smokes it, and then he writes his impressions of it in his weed diary. And she told me about this, and I'm like, why have we not translated that onto our webpage yet? We need to really get John's weed mores.
Yeah,
memoirs.
like pot confessions. Like
Come do this dab.
Ooh, I like that.
This is called the special. It came in. It's another one from Master Blaster here. I think this is a second run product, is what they call it. So it comes out differently, but it seems to get you really blasted too. The clarity doesn't seem to come out the same. I'm going to get somebody to talk about extracts on here so that I know more about them. People seem judgmental of the clarity, or not the clarity, but like the lightness of color and stuff. But I'm learning it's a bit of a red wine, white wine issue more than anything, you know.
Well, along with
You want the wireless one so you can just sit.
Yeah.
And, I think you'll be more conscious of it with the wireless mic.
with the wireless, I can.
Oh, we might not have, that way people might not have heard the didgeridooing is good. I wonder if that thing's low on batteries.
It may be because it cut out.
Maybe I'll turn off this other one over here for now. I begin to feel just slightly Neanderthalish around some of this audio equipment. Like the files are in the computer.
Yes.
Okay, so you mentioned earlier that if somebody came up with a phrase, you would do your best to do a beatboxing or whatever. I'm hoping Linda's got this. Boom. Oh,
Give me the Beat Boys and Free My Soul.
let's see what you can do.
Okay.
Try your hardest. That's all Jesus asks of you.
That's all I ask myself. I think this microphone is blinky dying, so I'll switch it out for that one.
You take this one, please. We'll just this we need to charge. Apparently, I'm not.
Turned it off.
Here I go, being all Neanderthalish. Do I just hold this up in the sun?
Like a shake weight?
Oh Jesus, yeah. If only we could power the nation like that.
Yeah, imagine microphone.
His fucking meme up earlier. There's this guy lying in this. We had another podcast come on in the background.
So give me the beat and Free My Soul.
Yes, give me the beat, boys, and free my soul by Linda. Who's this to us?
1 second.
1 second. We're on a time limit here in this freeform podcast.
That's kind of weird.
Yeah, that is. Wondering, I hope we're getting good sound feedback. I think it's because we weren't leaning into the mic good enough before, but. Woohoo! I think that's better. Yeah, I'm getting thumbs up here.
Yeah.
I'm getting thumbs up here. That's good. That's a good thing. This is why I like having the live chat going. It's just an easy way to make people monitor your podcast and give you feedback for free.
Yeah.
You're like, hi, I need like a collective tech
I need
support.
20 people to tell me I sound great.
Here, pull your. Let's get your mic up there again.
Yeah. That's, I guess, right.
I know it's so hard. You acoustic guys. You acoustic guys. I mean, you'd be quite happy if we were just on the street corner, just yelling loudly for a crowd to overhear about this conversation.
Well, most of the time I'm sitting on a street corner, yelling loudly through my didgeridoo. So it's good role reversal.
So you busk then downtown?
Yeah, most of the time I bus downtown or like busk around town. Most of the time by the water. I try not to be in the downtown because a didgeridoo can bounce off of walls and it's pretty weird thing to hear coming around the corner, something like
Well, no, that is awesome. You know what it makes me want to do is just like hide in a neighborhood in a bush and wait for people to walk by and then just like wah 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 and stuff.
well, like I had a person, like I play a lot of times. I just practice by myself, and I'll find some bush exactly that, and I'll be playing, and then I'll find this random person will be on their like hike or something like that has not heard a didgeridoo ever in their life, and I am a magical beast to them. Like they're like, what the hell is that, man? Oh my god! An inner monologue kicks in. Is that magic? Is that magic? It's like, you just hear this off in the woods.
Followed up with some Gregorian chanting, like "Oh, hail Satan!" and Bohemian Grove. Oh, that must have been the weirdest shit to hear going across the Australian outback and stuff. It's a very flat place. I can imagine that carries for like primitive GPS, so you can just find each other in the bush.
Like I had the first time I heard it just off in the distance, it was actually here in Canada, and like I had already learned how to play didgeridoo, but most of the time I have like rare people that come up to me and go, "Oh yeah, I can play that," and then they put it to their face and actually can play. Most of the time, people just want to fart in my didgeridoo and like go. When someone actually like picks it up and just plays it, I'm pretty amazed too, because I fought really hard to learn how to play. It was like a year of me sounding like complete nothingness. Like I went from me being just to get that tone took me a good like year of and like trying to figure out, and then I'd get it for a bit, and then I'd have to relearn it, and then I lost my didgeridoo from the crack incident, and
That's referring, in case you wrong, the crack incident he is referring to is the time that a change in weather caused his didgeridoo to crack.
Yes,
We're not talking about, like, say, one of the many crack incidents you'd encounter in Nanaimo on a walk.
no, it was
like
wood.
from one block to another.
Wood shattering event.
So how does the length affect the didgeridoo?
Well, this one here is about the length of this couch here, and it's definitely got this sound. This one is the same PVC tubing, same diameter. The more length that you get, the more times it's going to reverb inside of here and give you kind of a little bit more play and definitely be deeper.
So since you're using PVC anyways, have you ever thought about going to the plumbing store and starting at this diameter pipe and going like a couple inches and then doing an upper and then an upper so that you've got one that ends on like a...
That's actually what I'm doing right now, but I have a hard time with straight didgeridoos unless they're like small, because I just look at them and I'm like,
I think if you ask the didgeridoo, being born straight isn't a choice.
I like this little twisted look and of like melting and transforming like reclaimed stuff, because most of my stuff when I go to Rona and
you run to Rona?
when I go to Rona, it's like a kid in a candy store there. I can take a $20 and turn it into 3 didgeridoos, and then those 3 didgeridoos will like last me for forever. I even have one of Ricky has one of my didgeridoos. He bought one off of me.
Wait, no, Rich Ricky. No, there's a lot of Rickies. Are we talking about
Ricky Schmuck?
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
Ricky, who decides that he doesn't want to live on the island with everybody else. He's going to live in the boonies, middle of nowhere, and just sell pot up in the mountains.
Oh, he's a good guy.
Yeah. I was talking about how I would love to get to the point where we can do weedery tours, where we load a bunch of people up on a fucking microbus and drive them to different, like, weed-growing fields with, like, a little family that lives next door in a fucking farmhouse, and they're, like, making weed wines and extracts, and you just go there, and they get you high as fuck for, like, an hour, and then you load back on the bus and go to the next weedery couple miles down the road and fucking buy some weed from them and shit. Like a wine tour, but for stoners. Fucking awesome.
You would need a bus because you need a place for the smoke to billow.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really work in a limo. It's like right at your face level.
I mean, like, when you go to a winery, you wouldn't even be smoking on the bus. You load up, you stop at people's farm where they live with their family and like grow pot as an income because, it's not a fucked up shitty government, and then I was putting this up and Ricky was like, you just described the Kootenays.
Now, if every winery had like a dispensary beside it, and then we would breed a new type of tourist.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, part of our problem, a lot of the reason we've canceled our alcohol licenses in our venues is weed and alcohol react completely differently with different people.
Yeah.
Right, and also not a lot of people are out there drinking like a nice red wine. I try and drink BC wines as much as possible. Because, like, if you drink a $20 BC wine versus a $20 Spanish or Californian wine, in the case of California, you'd have to travel on truck and come over the border. So by the time you're paying $20 for it, you've also paid traveling and border tariffs. Spain, even worse. You're drinking the equivalent of like a $4 bottle of Spanish swill when you pay $25 in the store here. But the BC wines, travel the least
Yep.
and have the least import. And so some of the wines I'll drink in the local store here that are like $15 in the BCL or
Yeah.
$20 in the cold beer, you go across the border to Alberta, and these are $45, $50 bottles of wine.
Yeah.
So
The Okanagan here makes some amazing stuff, and that's what I find that dispensaries and actual a parallel between wineries and dispensaries is when you promote taste and knowing your product,
yeah,
you promote a better client.
yeah,
You promote the people that are actually searching for what they're searching for, and that's the clients that breed the culture in it. And I find that parallel between medical marijuana and dispensaries and a lot of other things that are people are searching for their thing.
yeah,
Because it's not something that is dialed in, put into a pill, give me this feeling. We want to diversify. We want to see. We want to have 5 different dabs on our thing and go, what does this make me feel like?
yeah.
Because we are inquisitive in nature and we want to search for things that we love. And that's what I find that this community really helps to promote. And it's kind of some other cultures and communities really get the benefit of that. Like, do you see really mad people going to wineries and like going, I hate this shit.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, okay, the one thing I learned about drinking wine from watching it on the Cracked video is you should just drink the wine you enjoy the taste of.
Yeah.
Right? Slightly higher quality wines are going to be nicer on your hangover on the other end. But I mean, with the weed, we are definitely. This is why it'll be so hard to if they turn the weed over to the corporate end and have a pharmacy sell it or whatever. You go and you talk to like any of the bud tenders down at Front Street or up at, and you know what? John is going to kill me for not mentioning this before. Now, Randa should have been on this Harewood Herbals up on 5th Street in Harewood. Harewood Herbals has a very lovely staff up there as well. That is another location of ours. You go to any of our bud tenders at Harewood Herbals or Front Street, and you describe to them like. The sort of day you have or what you're because there's recreational pot smoking and then there are people who use it as medicine. Now I have to be clear that we are not like trained medical professionals. We're just people who smoke a lot of weed all of the time. So we have experience. And I mean, what are you supposed to have a pharmacist who's also divvying out Oxycontin and shit to people or whatever they need out for painkillers in the back fucking making sure he's trying all the different types of weed? Like apparently every attempt at government weed has sucked because they don't have how many years in the industry.
Well,
right?
it's most of the time. Some of the first crops that the government's ever tried to do died because it didn't have diversified genetics.
Oh yeah.
They tried to make a seed and patent it. And once
monoculture thing.
Monoculture, and it kills it. It's something that needs to breed. It's like us, a melting pot of crotch rot.
Yeah.
Like, it has to diversify, it has to change. If it stays itself too much, it redundantizes its own genetics.
Well, I have an interesting little story about redundant genetics. Do you remember? You know how banana candies and banana Slurpees do not taste like bananas?
Yeah.
Okay, so this was because back in the 1920s, the commercially available banana, right, was a completely different species than what we eat now. And the way that they were growing bananas in the crops in their trees is they'd take a cutting and then plant a tree with it and let it grow as a clone. And that's why they didn't have the seeds in them. But this means the genetic diversity of the plant and the resistances for it against disease were down. So this banana disease swept the entire world's banana culture and literally made this specific banana tree go completely extinct. So they only have artificial flavors for this that had come out in the candy industry before this banana went extinct, right? So they came up with a new commercially viable type of banana, which they use now, but they didn't fucking learn from this. This literally almost happened to them again a couple of years ago. Oh, he's smart. See, he wanted to get the dab sound there on the thing. I was like, oh no, are you so high you're trying to use that microphone as a dab cap? And now I realize too late it was I who was so high.
It was a combination. I took there for a moment, changing hands.
Oh, that was a little bit of Nukin, which is an indica. It's yeah, wow. There's quite the selection. So back to with the whole selection of pots. One of the things we try and have the dab tent. We were trying to popularize the term dabrista because it sounds fun and perky, right? Dabristas. To be like a sommelier, which I hope I pronounced that right. My friend's mom, Lynette, is like a sommelier up at Lucky's Liquor Store, where she knows a whole bunch about wine and has taken courses and knows where it comes from all over the world to pair it with things. They've got one of the most knowledgeable wine selections I've ever been at. If you actually want good wines, you head up to Lucky's up there at Rutherford. No, Country Club. Up at Country Club, and they've got really good wine. But our dabristas are like that with the dabs. You come in and they can describe to you the different tastes. People have their preferences between the dark dabs and the other ones. Boom! Yeah, we were getting feedback. Where did I get the dab rig? I got the dab rig from Richard's cupboard of random dab rigs, but it is definitely my favorite of the lot. We have to, you know what, actually, we need to have a brief moment of silence for the dab rig that we lost last night during the Kaitami show. It fell in the name of duty, like so many of its brothers have before it, so I'm just going to honor it now. But where one dab rig falls, two more will rise to take its place. Boom. There, that was a tribute to our fallen dab rig brother.
See, a lot of people, the clarity and stuff I notice, people like go, I don't want something too spicy, give me something clear. It's like the clearest thing I have is the spiciest thing I have.
I've noticed like I was making the comparison between white and red wines. Both of them give you a nice wine buzz, but it is a different sort of wine buzz. A white wine buzz is a bit perkier. There's a fucking hilarious Robot Chicken series about like you take your buddy out to the woods, you open a bottle of white wine, and you tell him you're having feelings about him. White wine or whatever, right? And it's whereas red wine. You eat like a big steak and you're like, oh, well, I can't just eat all of this red meat without getting some probiotic and some enzymes and shit in me, so I better drink a bottle of red wine. I mean, to help wash all that red meat down. That's what the doctors say. Get that acidicness. Apparently red wine is really good for you in moderation, like so many things, right? So
on the same process of wine, I always thought mead, honey wine, a medicated honey turned into
a honey wine. I see. Okay, that's an interesting thought because they do make medicated honeys, and apparently actually getting the cannabinoids into the honey does some interesting stuff to it. You can make CBDs in, and then I know they make a weed wine. I've seen it pop up on my Facebooks where people are making it. It's a very green stuff, right? I've dropped Okay, we used to keep this thing up on the top of the bar at my buddy's house, which was the bottoms of all of the liquor bottles left over from parties. And then there was like a big, like an eighth of hash floating in it. And when people would start acting too jackassy, who would come over from for an after parties, we'd be like, hey, try a shot of this. And then they take a shot of this all sorts tincture and fucking unconscious within a couple of minutes, right?
Oh, God.
Usually we'd make them take a shot and we'd go, let's all go outside. And then because normally they'd throw up and then fall over or fall over and then throw up. So we'd just leave them on the lawn. It was up Gibbons Road in Duncan. Like, it's outside of town, and even if it was in town in Duncan, a passed out dude on a lawn is fucking par for the course for a Tuesday afternoon there. I can make fun of Duncan. I lived there for a number of years.
No, I'm just thinking about the kidney damage from all that liquor mixed together going hoopla on you.
Oh, yeah, well, we wouldn't tell them what they were taking a shot of. It's not like we'd be like, hey, you just put it in a shot glass, and then, like, you pour some water in yours or whatever. Oh, I'm doing vodka. And fucking down they go. We had another trick. We would keep near beer in the back of the fridge for that guy who's drunk too many beer but doesn't know it yet, but all the rest of you know it, and then he wants some more. And you're like, I'm not going to waste good beer on this fucking asshole that's just going to go outside in 20 minutes and throw it up. So we would just start handing that guy near beer, and he'd get like 3 near beer down. Sure enough, go and puke them all up on the lawn. And
then he sober up, and he wasn't such a douche?
No, then he would go to bed, and he'd still wake up and be a douchebag. I mean, that sort of person is not any more or less of a douche by the addiction of alcohol. I mean, Yeah. I could go over some signs that a person is a douchebag, but
On the same parallel, I was thinking of the different choices on clear and not clear. Clear. Same way, my body, when I drink alcohol, I can't do clear liquids like
Oh.
like things that are too pure, like gin,
I love gin.
vodka.
Not so much vodka.
They I can't drink them. Like they don't settle as well as something that has something in it, some dark something that my body wants to break down.
I like to. I don't drink as much as I used to. Most of it's a lack of time. I'm down at the club so much it takes, and I'm in my 30s. It's 2 days to recover. I've kind of have this to a day and a half by drinking higher class alcohol. Like you're talking about vodka. I really like to. If I've got some extra cash, I'll get some Grey Goose and some Kahlua, and then I'll go and get Boylan sugar cane cola, and I will make myself paralyzers using a nice cane cola and a Grey Goose and a heavy cream. You know, and just drink like 2 of those. I mean, now to rectify when I say I make myself a paralyzer, it's like a 4-ounce drink in a very small glass. I really like Di Serono's. It's like a variation of Di Serono sour.
Di Serrano, is that the like?
It's a brandy
amaretto?
or whatever. I think it is amaretto flavor. Yeah. You do 2 ounces of Di Serono and 2 ounces of Gibson's and 2 ounces of I like the passionate peach orange juice. Or if you can, you make your own fucking sour mix, which is fresh lemons and fresh limes and a simple syrup. Do not use that real lime stuff. There is more real limes and more real lemons in a bottle of Pledge than there is in a bottle of real lime. And when you make your own sour mix fresh, and then you make yourself like a whiskey sour, a Di Serono sour with that. Oh, and if you use a cane sugar like I like to do, I try to use white processed sugar and stuff. I use cane sugar, and it comes through in the drink, and then you're getting that nice high quality. And when you drink a higher quality alcohol and you make your own mixes and you use a quality mix like the Boylan I was talking about or whatever, I watch people go out and buy like $50 bottles of Kraken rum and then pour it in the same shitty Coca-Cola that they poured the Lamb's rum in they were doing when they were a teenager. And I've pointed out to people at parties, I'm like, there's more expensive mixes. You're in your 40s. I'm pretty sure you can afford it. It's a natural cola that expires and doesn't have all that aspartame in it. So I bet you're going to recover quicker drinking like that.
Well, I guess that comes back to the same parallel of like people that really like love their things. Like there's some people that just want their whatever. I don't want to know the name. Just does it get me high?
No, yeah.
Does it get me drunk? Like that mentality of just give me whatever, and then there's the person that wants to dial it to themselves, and like with like alcohol, with vodka, I could never drink that straight. But how you speak about that, it sounds really tasty.
I never drink straight alcohol. That's so abusive to yourself. Like now, if I have a drink, like if I go and buy a bottle of Grey Goose and a bottle of Kahlua, that'll be up above my bar for like 2 or 3 weeks, and I'll come home and mix a cocktail in the evening. Usually, I end up mixing enough to use up half at least the bottle of Boiling Cola. By the time I pay $10 for 4 of those fucking things, and if you know how much cola actually goes in a paralyzer, right? Although that Boiling goes really good with the Kraken rum. That's a really nice rum that's in like the 47%, right? But it's not about it's a dark, really flavorful rum, and it blends really well with the deep color of the Boilan. I really like the Boilan grape. I mean, not for mix, just to go and drink, like grape drink. It is grape drink.
Good old grape drink.
Shaken, not stirred. Fuck.
I like my grape drink flat.
The Boilan does a really nice orange cream soda, or like an orange soda. It's cream. It's so good.
This is completely gross, but go to McDonald's.
Okay,
for
that's gross already.
Number one gross thing. Ask for a cup filled mostly with their soft serve ice cream.
Okay.
And then that much orange soda. It's a creamsicle. I swear to God.
Oh my God. Okay. Yeah. I really I do like the orange Fruitopia. I can only bring myself to go to McDonald's if I'm like hungover or I just feel like really self-debasing, like I've gotten really bad news. Maybe I ask somebody out on a date and they're like, no. I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna go and eat McDonald's in shame in the shower. I just sit there in an umbrella eating McDonald's under it and listening to Warm Water.
Well, if you don't want to throw up, it's McDonald's. It's got enough regurgitants and fluff in it that it just turns you into a pigeon. It's
Oh.
like
So the boss's wife decided to go to McDonald's to check out this all day breakfast thing, and so everybody gives her a breakfast order. She goes up there, she comes back, and they're fucking liars. It's not all day breakfast. It's like 2 things, and none of it was the things anybody asked for. Right? It was like, oh my god. That's doing it right over there, McDonald's. Shit. You know what the ice cream cones at McDonald's are good for? You ever feed a dog an ice cream cone? And yes, people tell me dogs are lactose intolerant, but have you ever seen the look on my dog's face when it doesn't get a bit of ice cream in the heat? I mean, there's 2 dogs. There's my roommate's dog, Baxter, who is just a total bro. He's like a 2.5-year-old hound. And then there's my dog, Nora, who's like 5 and a bit, and she's a little lady. And she delicately licks her ice cream, and then when she gets down to the cone, she very carefully nibbles the cone down and licks it out. And Baxter, he chomps the ice cream until his entire brain freezes solid.
And then he runs around.
And then he comes back and finishes whatever's left. And then stares at Nora for the next 10 minutes while she eats her ice cream, seeing if she's going to drop any of it. It's adorable.
My childhood dog had a weird thing about knew where peanut butter was.
Okay.
Like
On your penis?
no, no, in the cupboards inside the jars would chomp the whole jar trying to get at it. And when he was younger, I guess he was the runt, and he wasn't supposed to survive, and they crushed a lot of dog food later on for him to eat it or something like that, and put peanut butter as protein.
Oh, I get it.
And
So it's like mother's milk to him.
if you leave that outside of the cupboard, he would just chomp the thing, and then his whole face would be full of plastic and
Okay, so here's one of the favorite things I like doing to the dogs. Like soda crackers, like the ones that you use for soup, right? I'll take one of those, and then I'll put a big scoop of peanut butter on the top, right? And then I'll hold it out to the dog, and the dog has to take it and chomp and push up with their tongue on the bottom of the cracker and shove all the peanut butter at the top of their mouth, especially if you hold the sides for a second. And then your dog is just stuck there like, yeah. I mean, so it's quite funny.
See, I'm that weird dumbass that will the dog will be doing that because someone did that, and I'll just be able to beat off of it while he's just like. I'll be there like. Dog will be looking at me weird, trying to stop because he's getting awkward.
And you see what happened if the dog ended up gassy?
Oh, great bass lines.
Yeah, oh, Jesus.
A little flat.
Oh, a little flatulent. Oh.
Oh, so did anyone else pop weird words up there?
I actually ended up off into another chat. We were setting up a benefit concert for Chris, who is also known as Turtle. He had an unfortunate stroke, and so there's people who are just getting together to hash out the details of that. We're going to try and throw that together here at Studio 420 on March 11th.
Yeah.
So there'll be more details about that coming up. I don't want to prematurely put things out there, but I got that's what I was doing. I hate being on my phone while I'm trying to engage in a conversation with people when you're trying to engage with the live stream. I find it super rude, but then I'm sometimes really busy for work, so people will be trying to have a really insightful conversation with me, and then I have to do this. I'm like, no, I'm totally wanting to pay attention to you, but this was like work related.
Well,
I'm gonna go back to the other one now, actually. What the heck? I'm still going up. I think. I've got somebody talking about ice wine. It's been a bit since I checked the stream because I went over to the other one. I get really high.
When I was in the Okanagan, I tried ice wine.
Oh.
It's the sweetest, tastiest thing that you should never drink more than a bottle.
Oh, yeah. Are you familiar with how they make it?
Oh, isn't it like the first frost process or something?
Yeah, it's okay. I watched a documentary on this a couple years ago. and then I smoke a lot of weed. So at this point in time, I might as well have watched almost nothing. But my understanding of it is that you have to let the grapes hang out on the vine long enough, and they become like rather ripe, just being chilled out there. And then when the first frost comes, you have to pull them while they are still frozen. And press them, and it just squeezes a drop of the most concentrated juice out of the center.
Something about like pulling all the sugars out when the last frost or something.
Yeah, and I guess it's got to be like I mean, like it's about as delicate as knowing when the mushrooms are sprouting down in the cow fields, which also has a lot to do with frost.
Yeah.
And delicately reading the signs of nature. There was really unfortunate. There was a cow field down in Duncan, down in Cowichan Bay. And we used to cut school from Francis Kelsey in like grade 8 and just ride the bus up and walk down there and pick Liberty caps, which compared to a Mexican cabenzi, a Liberty cap is like a fucking Tim Burton high. Yeah, right? like really,
Good golden cap.
yeah.
Walking around with a halo and a glow.
Well, the fucking, but a lot of us didn't know about like having buckets with holes in them and stuff like that. We would tap and shit, but there was, teenagers. The internet wasn't what it was now, and everything. The field got kind of picked out. Now LARPers hang out down there too, from my understanding. But we'd fucking go down there and every day just like cut class and fucking eat and pick mushrooms in the field and just get high and then go home, go to bed early.
Well, that was the thing to that was the thing to do when you were a kid. Is like experiment, right?
Yeah.
And like, have you ever heard of Datura?
Pardon?
Datura?
It sounds like a car insurance company.
It looks like a chestnut, but it does
Okay.
not grow on a tree. It grows on a small bush that's about knee high,
Okay.
and it is the most fucked up thing I have ever tried.
Warning: don't just eat strange nuts off of bushes.
No, no, it was prescribed by an idiot to me.
I was prescribed by an idiot. Every village has one of those.
Yes, but referencing that, I was the idiot that took it from the idiot. But it's a green spiky pod that looks like a chestnut, and it has little seeds in it that are little scary seeds,
Little bits.
that are red and gelatinous, almost like tapioca. And
good.
if they're white, they're like supposed to be the equivalent of like natural death or something.
Oh, wait, okay. Do you mean the equivalent of natural death because it kills you?
Yeah, pretty much.
So if you pick the wrong seeds out.
The whole pod will either be red seeds inside, or they will dry it up into the powder form, which will pretty much just fuck you up.
Okay, so fuck you up. But I want to be clear. The white powdered form bad?
Bad.
Like white phosphorus bad.
Like cyanide, like belladonna, like.
But Belladonna, I hear she's an actress.
Yeah.
Google her sometime. Google her with your children. Belladonna, look her up.
You can order her fist.
Oh, really? Oh my god! I made a joke to my boss the other night. Richard there. I said that he was like, "Put my foot up your ass," and I was like, "Oh, wouldn't that be like the best sex toy style? We could market it of a foot shaped."
The Red Foreman.
Yeah, the Red Foreman. Fuck. And then we could do an ass for a hat too. That was always my favorite one of his.
This environment kind of reminds me of like Eric's basement. We're smoking weed with like the possibility of full circle.
Yeah. No, that is actually a very, when they would sit around that fucking spool from, I'm just checking the podcast, and we are still live on there. We've actually gotten this fairly stable for being a bunch of people who started this a week and a bit ago. I mean, I think you're actually like our 5th or 6th annual guest. I'm not sure. I'll have to go back and count. We've got to cut our videos and start getting them out to the page. But yeah, you're like our 6th guest.
I'm a total loser.
What? You would. You should not say self-debasing things. You're one of Jesus' special children. He loves you.
It's motivation for me.
I got a statue of Buddy Christ up there, and it
Yes.
confuses people. My theory is like, okay, 2 things. One, I explain this to people. Christ is more real than you or me because more people know about him, just like Spider-Man is more real, right? And when more people know about you than Spider-Man, you are now also a real person, right? Theoretically, because more people are going to remember Spider-Man 100 years from now. So, based on that, the things they tell me about Christ is that he hangs out with prostitutes and he's obligated to forgive you, and he knows how to fix shit. So you call him over, and then you make him fix your fucking broken cupboard for free, and he can't even bitch because he's obligated to forgive you. I hear he brings his own nails.
He's got so many names. He's got AKAs.
Oh, AKAs? Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh,
Jesus Cristo.
hey, Jesus Cristo. That giant fucking, my grandma has been to Brazil where they've got that giant Christ on the fucking hill. I've seen video of it from her, like,
He wants a hug.
holy shit. Well, there's a Tony Hawk level in, like, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 where you fucking start up there. Oh my god, back when it was like, I kind of stopped playing that game when you started to be able to just caveman run everywhere. Like, it was just like, oh.
When you can go to manual to grind, manual to grind, manual to grind through a whole 2 minutes, and
Yeah.
then after just laugh at your score, it
Oh.
kind of got to the point for me. I was like, I love this, but it's only when I'm like retardedly stoned and I can't even move my legs. Like I can play this game doing that. It's like it's that easy. It's up down up down.
I thought the original one had the most realistic skateboard runs in it. You know what I mean? Like the tricks were not super huge, yet the physics seemed to be actually, for
But-
being jerky as fuck.
And that was like the best part about it. Like the first little hangar thing, the military base that you got for a demo, and when you were one of those cats that like, oh, I grinded across there and I opened the other side. Really, man? Yeah.
Oh yeah. You get the secret grinds and stuff. Remember when the levels were actually like a level and you had all of that cool shit to nail, and it wasn't like do a McTwist over a fucking helicopter to oppose the police, man. I mean, like, who the fuck do you think you are, Bam Majera?
And then while it evolved, like after like the evolution for me was like skate.
I don't
You
think I
didn't
played
even
that one.
you didn't even need your skateboard at one point. It was the concept that you could use your two joysticks like your two legs, and you actually had to do flip tricks and stuff like that instead of just grinds and stuff like that. So you had to get your position, and then you would actually have to flick. And but you could throw away your board and play Hall of Meat, which was pretty much you just jumping off of things and
What the
torturing your character and watching the bones crack.
Okay, I'm a big fan of Saints Row, the Saints Row series. I'm not a Grand Theft Auto guy. Saints Row speaks to me.
Yeah.
I was really sad because in the last one, in Saints Row 3, you could pick zombie voice as your character's voice. So you would do these really, people would say things to you in these cutscenes like, well, boss, how do you think we should rob the bank? And your character would go, blah, 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 blah. And then they go, well, boss, where are we going to get a tank? And then you go, blah, blah, blah. And they go, oh, brilliant. And like, it was hilarious. I think it was number 3. You end up, there's a mission, you go to the mayor's office and you open the door, and behind the mayor's desk is Burt Reynolds, and I'm sitting there high with my brother playing this, and we go, Burt fucking Reynolds, and then the screen does this big flash cutscene, and it goes, that's right, Burt fucking Reynolds. We're like, what? And then after you do all of his missions, you can call him on your cell phone. He shows up in the bandit car, dressed like fucking his character from Smoking the Bandit, and just starts fist fighting with random people in the fucking street, and then you get in the bandit car and you cruise with Burt Reynolds. That game really got me. Like, it understood me as a human being.
In the new Ghost game that they had for Call of Duties, I'm a big like old movie like shoot 'em up like buff. Like you give me old.
So you really like that movie Shoot 'em Up?
It was all right.
And I enjoyed it. It was ridiculous as fucking awesome.
It was good to watch once.
Oh, I don't know. I think fucking what's his name? The guy who played the bad guy there.
It kills
Vincent,
a man with a carrot.
Vincent Giovanni or whatever like that. I think I got that right. Maybe if somebody's actually still paying attention to the chat, they'll let me know who the villain in Shoot 'Em Up was. I thought he did a really good job. Like Clive Owen was okay as the character, but the villain was much more memorable. He was just like a weird dude. But yes, you were saying about old Shoot 'Em Ups.
Like old shoot 'em ups. So like The from Full Metal Jacket when he's breaking down all the guys. Polish it, Lee Army.
I didn't know they stacked shit high. Lee Marvin.
Lee Army.
No,
Like,
it's Lee Marvin because he's in fucking Big Red One, dude, with Mark Hamill.
well,
It's
doesn't he call himself Army now?
I don't know. I fucking I'm pretty sure it was Lee Marvin because I used it in Big Red One with fucking Mark Hamill, which is based on a true story. I only know this because my great grandfather was in Africa and attached to the Big Red One for just a little bit as one of the aircraft mechanics before getting trapped on the island of Malta. Right. So fucking yeah, I've watched Big Red One though. Like, and if you haven't seen fucking Big Red One with Mark Hamill, Lee Marvin, you are missing out something fierce. We don't murder the enemy; we kill them.
But like in this Call of Duty Ghost thing, you can pay to have the option of him as being your like multiplayer voice that speaks to you all the time.
How much do they charge you for that option?
$2 or something.
Oh, those bastards!
Yeah.
It's so worth $2, but you know, I mean, they could have charged you $1, but they're just dicks too, you know.
But for the longest time, it didn't work on my thing because of internet problems and stupid stuff on my hard drive not being full. So I bought it and wasn't able to do it. And then I got stoned one day and downloaded it, and I'm playing multiplayer, and this guy's yelling at me. I've got like a war movie in the background. I'm smoking a lot of bowls, and I'm like entrenched in my bed. And yeah, it's a good way to play a video game, I guess.
Fucking, I just some of the lines from fucking Full Metal Jacket. Only steers and tears come from steers and queers come from Texas. Which one are you? Or fucking yeah.
5 foot. No, I didn't know they stack shit that high.
What do you think's so funny over there, Joker? I'm gonna call you Private Joker. And fucking just like ridiculous shit. Gomer Pyle.
Oh, there's a YouTube group that makes a parody of an anime that I really like called Attack on Titan.
Oh, okay. I had a hard time getting into that because they kept flashing back to earlier episodes so much. Does that end eventually?
Once it's all together, it'll be recompiled. It's like as it's being created, I can understand why a lot of people are like.
It gets really, and then they think you're watching it weekly. They haven't caught up to how Netflix viewing is.
Because you kind of have to flip back and forth between like their story and their manga storybooks. So it's kind of like they try and have their other medium that you're supposed to go and look at too. But
I just got a notification actually that something on Netflix I've been waiting to come out. It was called Seven something like that.
Seven Deadly Sins.
Yes, Seven Deadly Sins season 2 just came out, and I hadn't got a chance to watch that yet. Did you watch Fate Zero?
Fate Zero, yeah.
Fate Zero season 2 and 3 suck a bag of dicks. They are complete. It's like they were written by completely different people. I really loved Alexander in Fate Zero. Alexander the Great. His whole fucking thing. And you never want to spoil the ending for anybody, but that guy's character was he was my favorite.
I've been really hoping that gets expanded on Dead Man Wonderland.
I don't think I've seen that.
It's a concept of a privately owned prison. Like they
like every prison in the United States.
Yeah, very much. But they run it like a carnival. That the inmates are like all death row inmates. They have a poison that's around their neck, so they can't leave, and they have to keep on playing this games and different things like that to maintain their life. But then there's a secret game that goes under it, and I don't want to reveal too much.
Oh no. So we'll just reiterate. What was that called again? I'm gonna put it in the live chat.
Dead Man Wonderland.
Dead Men.
Dead Man Wonderland.
Dead Man. No, that's an anime or it's a live action?
It's a anime.
Dead Man Wonderland. Okay. I was looking at that. Something we're going to be doing is showing some movies and stuff that we're allowed to. There's a lot of people who like anime. I have a collection of it. It's hard to get super good stuff. Like I just rewatched all of Cowboy Bebop again. I found a new good cut. I'm having a hard time finding a cut of Hellsing, and I don't mean that stupid POV remake piece of shit. I'm talking about the original 13 episode Hellsing. Oh, the one that was just really, really well done. I
Well, as I was saying about the Attack on Titan and
Yes.
the other, what we got onto there, there's a group that parodies a lot of different animes called Team Four Star, and they take a like a direct cut from the Full Metal Alchemist of when he's cutting down these boys, and they rework it for that anime.
Oh,
And the
Jesus.
scenes of the parallels are just so spot on that it's like that's why live media and what we're doing, like things like this podcasting and creating a lot of material, being able to just sit around with a whole bunch of people and like make a creator space, because we're creating discussions, we're creating live events that are going to be played to everyone else.
Yeah.
And like and different different nods to the different things that inspire us.
Oh, well, I'm really stoked about when Richard's getting this new like sound video board in. He being a patron of arts and all of the things, and just a general entrepreneur, is putting a lot of investment into the sound. That's why the podcast sound, even when I'm terribly doing this on the weekend, you can definitely tell when sound people are hearing when they're not. Even when I'm terribly doing this on the weekends, the sound quality is up there. I hate it when you've got like 4 or 5 people trying to talk into one microphone in the middle of the room. I can't listen to those style of podcasts. So I hope this one comes off good.
Yeah, because if we also had that one style of like one mic picking up this area, it would also be clouded by everything else that's around. And
Yeah. Well, I hope to, once we've got it so that we've got a guy that's doing the audio of Joe Rogan's version of Young Jamie, as he calls him, so that we can have people bring stuff up on the big screen. I'd like to get people down here to do an episode to just talk about anime, where we've already got kind of a list of ones that we're going to bring up that are just people's favorites, and be like, oh, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, because there are a lot of different ones out there. It's hard to sort them out. Like, I remember watching when Gungrave first came out.
yes,
I was watching it get released from Japan, so you had to wait for it to get released over there, and then hopefully someone would encode it within 48 hours, and then release it to. We used to get it off of Krakow, which was a Mac only file sharing site that was pre fucking torrent, right? And then it would come over, and the original subtitling by the Japanese people, that was the true translation of the Japanese, not even the done down American dubs. Like, if you watch Inuyasha for the Japanese subtitle, not the Japanese subtitles that they send over here, but the ones that were actually done on the pirated episodes where people have translated it for real, it turns out when he's just screaming loudly for the American translations, he's actually yelling a lot of really terrible shit. Like, I'm a chop off your head and then feed it to your mother and shit like that. Just the most brutal shit, and it's kind of a much better show.
Well, that brings back to like what we were saying earlier about like different languages. Is more we translate and more we draw lines, like we get lesser and less. If everybody was taught every language, they'd get to watch a lot of cool stuff.
Oh, you would, you would, and it would be like it would be sad if we did lose. Like the thought of having one language that everybody speaks would, I'm sure, make it easier to communicate. But the thought of Japanese has more levels of expression. Like they have individual words for like a happy sadness. You know, like
love for a country, love for a nation, love for like family. They got like
the feeling. They have like an exact word for like expressing the feeling of remembering a pet that you had fondly and being sad but happy for the memory. Just like a very expressive language and shit like that.
Or like what's that one? The German one. That's
nobody who speaks German can be bad. I like the Lugan press they're using a lot on the Rebel Media Watch, which talks about the lying press, about what the mainstream media has just been doing to bullshit us all lately. Lugan press. They've got some interesting terms in German.
Well, what's that term they have for feeling happiness at someone else's pain?
Oddly enough, I know the exact term. I'm looking this. I know what you're talking about because I have often felt this feeling. I feel no guilt in admitting that. Honesty with oneself is a really important part of moving forward in life. Okay. I'm literally gonna look that. My phone will probably remember the Google search because phones remember some weird shit, right? And what'd be really interesting is when Amazon starts getting that preemptive marketing stuff, where they're trying to figure out the things that they want close by you based on your internet searches, right? The amount of sex toys that are going to be held in warehouses nearby because the amount of people that Google porn is going to be staggering. Staggering.
Or the algorithmic, like they have this thing in Japan, the algorithmic advertisement that as you walk by, it like maps your body and takes your body language and sends you stuff that's keyed for you, and it's kind of weird. Like,
Ooh, okay. Do you remember Minority Report with Tom Cruise? They had the holographic fucking the malls and stuff would scan your eyes, and then they would play projected advertising right at you, and because you were identified by your eyes, it would even say your name and shit. That's why you had to have his fucking eyes pulled out by that dude, and then new eyes put in.
so imagine going to a place that never repeats your advertising, that's tuned in now, that, every time you're looking this way, you're not going to see this, or you're not going to see this.
We are looking at Schadenfreude. Can you
Yeah.
pronounce German better than I can?
Schadenfreude.
Schadenfreude.
Yeah.
Let's get the definition.
I probably said that bad.
Okay, I've got the Wikipedia. Schadenfreude, harm joy, is pleasure
Harm joy.
derived from pleasure derived from the misfortune of others, borrowed from German into English and several other languages. It is a feeling of joy that comes from seeing or hearing about other people's troubles or failures. It is an expression of pleasure or self-satisfaction at another's failure.
It is literally how Jackass got themselves in. Like that. It's like Jackass.
Yeah.
Schadenfreude.
Yeah, it's like when you hear that your ex's new boyfriend, lost his job. You're like, oh, wow, Schadenfreude, or like just weird shit like that. I'm
Or the overly drunk person. Hey man, you're leaning too far. Stand up. Stay there.
Yeah.
And then,
oh no. Schadenfreude. Oh my god! I wonder if we can get that to catch on at like watching fails and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like just
like a tagline at the bottom, like hashtag Schadenfreude.
Schadenfreude. Oh yeah. Yes. We got. We need. We need a meme army to start up behind this,
Yes.
right? Holy shit.
That's down.
Well, I mean, like, come on. There's nothing wrong with enjoying a kind of dicky person. Just not getting it from you. Like, I hate all that punch Nazi shit that's going on there. But if a person is truly dicky right down to their soul, the universe will take care of them, right?
It's Darwinism. Like,
Yeah.
I think it was Joe Rogan that said, like, why are you looking out for the stupid people? You want them to lose.
Oh.
You want to prove that you're not them. Like,
Oh no! Okay, you know what's really weird? We were talking about this earlier, and I wanted to touch on this actually. You were saying you're into a bunch of martial arts training. I'll get you to list it all in a second here, but I've been doing that Wim Hof thing. This is like 10 days into cold showers. Like last night, I got like 4 hours sleep after I went out and checked out these interesting people I want to have on the podcast who were over at this like burlesque venue. They're down at the Queens. They do stuff there. They've got some shows coming up. I forgot their flyers at home this morning, or I probably would have mentioned them, but I'm gonna jazz with them over Facebook and try and get them in here on Monday or Tuesday, right? But so I got home really late, like 3 in the morning, and then I opened my fridge and I realized that I don't have food in my fridge because I'm gone all the time. I have 2 frozen English muffins, so I ate one of those. But we do have beer from White Sales. They've got these growlers. I keep buying more and more of them. There's now 3 of them that we can take there, and you just fill them up. They're like $11 to fill up with a lot of beer. So I get back and there's some.
quality, like microbrew beers.
Oh yeah, White Sales is really good, dude. I really like bringing that. It's just down the street from the Cannabis Club, so it's really I can pick up growlers while I'm going off to work, coming back home and stuff. So I get home, it's like 2 in the morning. I have an English muffin and I drink 2 large mugs of their Snake River, which apparently is an award-winning like dark ale, right? I went to bed and like so I get up at fucking 7:30 this morning to get on with my life on about 3.5 hours sleep, and feeling just a little effects of the 2 large mugs of dark ale in my late night. I jumped in that shower for those 3 ice cold minutes, and all the endorphins kicked in, and I was just like awake and ready to hit the day up, and the little bit of tenseness and headache I had in the back just fucking vanished. Right? It was and then you know what I was using? I was using some soap that I'd got. Right? It was lovely flavor of soap. You know how to make soap, don't you? Right?
Yeah.
I want to talk about that Fight Club style.
Yeah.
in a bit. But anyways, we're going off with the martial arts. I'm doing the whole Wim Hof thing because it teaches you about we do not suffer adversity when we just hang out inside in temperate rooms all the time, so we don't develop brown fat, which your body develops in response to temperature adversities, right?
Yeah.
Now, I bring this up because you had mentioned to me that you do body hardening training.
Yeah, well, it's a hard body training. It's pretty much a bone density training because I'm a tall person.
You're tall and a scarecrow-like. I mean,
I don't have a lot of mass to me. I'm a slender, wiry dude, right?
If we did a live-action remake of The Wiz, would you be our scarecrow? Do you mind the blackface?
Stoner Wiz on the stage here.
Yeah, or just
We're off
shoe
to see the
polish
wizard.
face.
Wonderful
Just,
Wizard
oh my
of
God.
Oz.
There's like levels of Inception there because it's supposed to be like this anti-racism thing, and you're doing an all-white cast in blackface remake of The Wiz. Holy shit! I'm gonna cry a little bit. Oh my God! Oh my God! Send it to Black Lives Matter afterwards. To George Soros and his Dear White People thing on Netflix. I'm sorry. It's our all white remake of this. Oh my God. I'm not racist. I just find weird shit funny, okay?
I laugh at everybody equally.
Oh my God. Only some people will get that joke, and I really like those people. Okay. Oh. Fuck. Okay, so hard body training, you were saying, because you're tall and you're skinny.
Yeah, and most of the time when I got injured, it was because I broke a bone or something. I hurt, like I didn't have flexibility and stuff like that. And I know that later on in my life, do you see many tall like old people? Like actually tall old people.
I assume that when they slip and fall, they fall further and then they die easier.
Yeah, I'm kind of looking at that for myself, and I'm like, calcium's something we lose, and I'm like meticulous. As much as I'm a stoner, I have ambitions.
Yeah, no, I like to be a cannabis activist. It's an oxymoron. Back to those oxymorons we were talking about. But yeah,
as much as like I like to sit back and look, I'm really relaxed, is because I work really hard to be really relaxed. And it's
you have to earn this calm demeanor.
Yeah,
because life is frustrating.
it can be. You have to achieve something, or you're just redundicizing yourself, and then you're sitting back and you're going, I don't really know what I'm doing with myself. No, I'm comfortable now because I have to be.
Yeah. No, there was a sign on a church that I drive by in my neighborhood, and it says, "You don't rest because the job is done. You rest because there's a job to be done." Right? I was like, wow, that's a really logical thing. Sorry, I got some. When it comes to religion, I like this whole the thing the Sikhs learn. I went to a Sikh temple when I was staying at the rehab place in Kelowna a number of years ago, like 5 years ago, and they were like, we have a book. Our holy book is written by a bunch of people who aren't a part of our religion. I was like, what the shit? And they're like, yeah, we just like traveled around, and everybody who had a good idea, we put in our book, because we don't care what God you worship. If God is the ocean, then religion and spirituality are the river, and we just want everybody's good ideas. And I was like, oh, so I mean, you don't get all caught up in the specific beliefs and whatever things. You hear a story about morals, and then you take the good parts out of that and make them part of your life, which is why I believe that Pixar movies have some really good moral stories. Or whatever.
Like, well, the whole concept of theology, of wanting to like look at something and see your angle, and being able to add to something bigger because you had your part on your angle kind of gives us a sense of immortality.
Yeah.
As much as like we're so driven to procreate, and we're so driven to like build these different things and get caught up into different systems, but that's benign effect. We still have the ambitions that we love, and like bringing back to like the martial arts and stuff. Everybody has their way of like finding a diverse thing. Like a lot of people don't even realize that they're making exactly the street kung fu like that. Like a perfect example, the muscle memory that the dab tenders that you guys have at many of your locations.
Okay. Yes. Yes.
To go in, measure amounts, and every single time give the same service.
Yeah.
The repetitive motion that applied on different ways, it's muscle memory that they're using like kung fu, like the same wax on, wax off mentality of, and that's what I've been like. I know it sounds kind of dorky and dumb, but I love it. But Karate Kid, man, like Mr. Miyagi, like everything you can do can build your kung fu.
Wait, I think I've got. So I was actually listening to a thing the other day where they talk about cellular memory that can be passed on from children, parents to children, right?
Inherent skill.
Because my parents rolled a lot of joints, I'm naturally going to be better at rolling joints, is what we were saying. And now with this new generation with the dabs, because that wasn't part of my parents' generation, they all going to go out and have kids, and their kids are naturally going to be better at the dabbing because of a shared cellular memory.
Well, it's visualization to muscle memory. Just imagine, like with my hard body training, a lot of times I'm striking my body more so than doing an outward like martial art movement. I work with a wood dummy with 3 arms, and I strike against different points in my body, which are my weaknesses.
Okay.
I strike out against my weaknesses a lot in the same way that you are going through that cold water training.
Yeah.
Of reshocking your system back into form, having to deal with the extremes so your body learns to deal with it type thing.
Yeah.
And in the same way our body was used to being beat up a little bit more. Like we've got a good life now. It's pretty lax. We have all this things
We're
and
de-evolving.
stuff, and yeah, we're techno evolving.
We're becoming the people from Wall-E.
Yeah,
Segways and fucking our diet and our phones. We are becoming the people from Wall-E. Once again, Pixar movies have deep messages. Right? I'm going to form a whole religion that is just eating LSD and watching Pixar movies to interpret their messages about your life.
There's a lot of anxiety that a lot of the people that we circulate around, that they have not feeling compelled, and it's not because of the weed, it's not because of the environment, it's mostly because they don't feel like they're achieving something most of the round. And in the same way, like everybody in almost every domain is going through the same thing, and
I think I read a book about this.
it's like we're really hyper stimulated, but we're under like motivated. Like we don't actually have the forward headway in a lot of the stimulation that we're having. And it's not the good, it's not the bad, it's the growth that we are looking for. So stimulation just fills the place. It's the food, we just eat it.
Well, I think the book I read that it touches on what you're talking about, we're not supposed to talk about. I think it's the Fight Club book, where he actually talks about how we are like wasting away. We're not all beautiful, unique snowflakes. We're meant to track fucking animals through the jungle and kill a deer, wear pants that last a lifetime, and men are lost in this world of sitting at desks and trying to file paperwork. I don't feel fulfilled. You know where men feel fulfilled? Storming the beaches of Normandy, doing shit like that. You know, hunting animals. Jack Donovan he's a really good author. He wrote The Way of Men, which discusses tribalism and how we've lost it and how men feel lost because of this lack of tribalism, and he discusses masculinity and stuff. It's a really good author to follow, right?
I've noticed that a lot, and that's a lot of musical mediums and art mediums that we have around here, like the metal community around here.
Yeah.
And the hip hop community around here, two things this town is amazing for is music and you guys.
Yeah.
And, like in my opinion, and
I really need a periodic table of elements for the metal community
Mm.
because
they're diverse.
very diverse. Yeah, there's got to be like someone's got to get me a periodic table of metal elements
Mm.
so I can tell them all apart. You know what I mean? With like their metal weights or whatever, their Newtonic gravity in the metal community.
But like I find like that brotherhood thing and that pack mentality, it's like kind of our little lean-to now. We have to use art to build a brotherhood, and it's because we can't actually do it with community.
Yeah.
And so I find a lot that we're all like understimulated and actually achieving something, hyperstimulated by our environment, and then we feel like we haven't achieved anything, and half of our muscles are dead because we don't use them.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I am going up and down on this health thing. It's actually been a slow journey. When I fucking turned 30, I went on a bit of a tear because I was like, oh my god, I'm 30. And then after I went on the tear, I went to the doctor, and I was working as a truck driver's helper, where all you do is sit.
Swamper.
Yeah, you do the
yeah.
actual term. Most people get confused when I
Yeah.
say swamper. They're like, wait, do you work for the swamp thing? Or right, but you do a lot of sitting and chain smoking and drinking energy drinks because
and
your
then
main
working
job.
for short periods. And
Yeah,
then
but your main job is to look at the truck driver to make sure he doesn't fall asleep. That's the actual. If you're
Yeah.
not supposed to sleep as the swamper, you're supposed to stay alert and look at him and then hand him things.
yeah.
Like-
But if you're caught in a bad swamping position, you're sleeping while he's driving, and you're working every single second that you're awake.
Oh yeah, and that's
Yeah.
that's a dangerous way to do it. You're supposed to be as a team, right?
Yeah.
And then you rest as a team and you work as a team. But you consume a lot of energy drinks. You consume a bad diet out of fast food places. And I was smoking a lot. I picked up the fucking darts again the other week too, and I got to drop that again. When will I learn? Vicious cigarettes. I mean, yeah. For
I'm
what you do with the didgeridoo, I don't think you.
I do smoke cigarettes actually,
Really?
But I'm in the process of quitting. Well, sort of.
Sort of.
Sort of.
Like a support group.
I have my. I've been smoking more expensive clove cigarettes. that
Oh,
I
okay.
can't smoke.
So economically.
I can't smoke 3 of them in a whole day. So I'm like, I smoke half of them, and I'm like,
Yeah, I'm just gonna lay this on other people and probably have to be really bitchy for about a week. I've quit before. I'm gonna have to get one of the oil vapes working full time, and then just anytime I want to pick that up. I used jelly beans a lot the last time. I did this trick where you go and write down the price of the expensive Jelly Belly beans is the less expensive jelly beans at a place I will not disclose, in a thing called not the bulk aisle, because I am not paying $3.99 for 100 grams of fucking jelly beans. I'm trying to cost myself less by eating these things to quit smoking. I don't need to trade a goddamn $60 a week smoking habit for a fucking $100 a week jelly bean habit.
oh my god.
Oh.
I could actually do that. That would probably be the way. But it has to be Jelly Bellies, and then
Yeah. My trick was I'd have them in a container in the kitchen, not on the coffee table, because then you just do bong rips and eat fucking jelly beans, right?
That would screw me too. Yeah.
And then anytime I felt like I needed a cigarette, I would get up and go to the kitchen and grab a handful of jelly beans and then sit back down and slowly try and eat the jelly beans. And then usually by the time you're done fucking eating the handful of jelly beans, you do another bong whale and you kind of forget about it. It's about breaking the habit. And then I started having to carry them with me in the car because I drive and smoke a lot. So now that I think about it, I'm going to have to fucking hit up the bulk aisle of said undisclosed jelly bean dispensary on the way home and work on breaking the smoking habit instead of picking up another pack of smokes.
Well, with the smoking also, I find that I've been leaning towards that and smoking a lot less cigarettes because of like the smoke. I've been working out so much that that I don't crave the oxygen deprivation.
Yeah. See, I
And-
picture you kind of working out like Hot Rod in the Hot Rod where you just dance fighting it out in the woods with some epic music playing in your head.
Most of the time, it's me. My style is based on falling and having a dense body.
Having a dense body.
You
You ever work out with Kingston down at Front Street?
no, I have not.
Oh, he's like one of the crazy parkour guys. And he does kendo stuff, right? He's he's into some really cool Japanesey.
That was tasty. What was that one?
That was the Critical Mass.
Mm.
No, yeah, that was Critical Mass. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that one. That's nice, like halfway.
Yeah, that's an indica as well. It is, back when I used to sell pot as a teenager, you got the pot,
Yeah.
and you hoped you got the pot from a good guy, and then there'd be like two types of pot in town: the good pot and the bad pot, and you hoped you were getting the good pot, and it would randomly fucking switch.
Yeah.
Do you remember planting a seed partway through a joint, not telling anybody to play joint roulette to see who got the
Who
fucking
got the
seed
pop?
explode in their face?
Who got the pop?
Yeah.
And it had to be a good seed too.
Oh, fuck
it,
yeah.
It had to like still be able to popcorn. Have you ever tried pot seed popcorn?
I do not think I have.
They're air puffed pot seeds, and they
What?
yeah.
Isn't that just hemp hearts? Is this how's this
It's
different?
kind of like hemp hearts, but they are kind of like the same way that you puff a note.
Okay, so then are you telling me that I could make puffed wheat squares?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
You hadn't thought that far ahead?
No.
No.
Uh,
Oh my god! And see what we do is then you make the pot seed puffed wheat squares, and we the molasses shit like the marshmallow we use to hold it together. We put infused clear syrup in that. Oh, what? What?
There's these little
I think that was
coconut
the sound. It was
date
mind
balls.
blowing.
There's these little coconut date balls that
Okay.
and I've always wanted to see them infused, and I've some people know exactly what I'm talking about, and they're like a goddamn meal in one goddamn overly
Blasphemous.
trip. They're like, you eat one and you're like,
Oh.
for an hour or like half an hour, but they're so goddamn good.
Wait. And so what's in it? It's
It's
just
like coconut dates and like
coconut dates.
and some sweeteners, and
Just
I'm not
tasty
quite.
shit.
Yeah, but if you put dope in that, I'd eat that all day, and I'd just work out.
Well-
Like it's like so much calories and protein.
We are working on getting an infused Slurpee bar basically up here. It's like they're doing the syrup bar down at the Cannabis Club, but we're looking at getting the countertop Slurpee machines and getting like a daiquiri mix with some flavored syrups, and you can add also infused syrups. You can make like a raspberry lime infused virgin daiquiri sort of thing.
I guess I went down to that bulk barn thing.
The bulk bar, are you're talking about the bark barn where there's just like fucking gummy bears and shit
Yeah.
galore, and there's no prices on anything.
Yeah.
And they're just like you're gambling.
Yeah.
It's literally like a fucking slot machine for me. I went there one time, and it was like $35, and I bought two things, and one of them was gummy bears,
But the
the
one
tropical ones, the
the-
main tropical ones.
to have your own oils at the back.
Oh, what?
They have an oil press there. In the
Ooh.
back.
What were you pressing?
You can get any of their things pressed there. You can even you can take your nuts and make butters there.
I can just press my nuts and get some nut butter.
Your pistachio butter,
Oh my god, are you kidding me?
green
Are
pot
you
butter.
kidding me?
You make
Pistachios,
you
no,
press it there.
pistachios.
You press it there, and you bring it here.
Cashew butter.
And then you infuse it.
Cashew butter. A lot of people don't know this. Cashews come from apples.
Mm.
Right? No, it's the stem. It's the top stem of an apple. It's not the inside. Right? They're from South America, and they pull the top stem off the apple in South America. They sell the apple as the fruit. People down there just fucking eat it. Nobody. But the top of it, this little nub, they dry out and send up here as the nuts. Right? Like I tell people this randomly. They never fucking believe me, and then they Google it, and they're like, "Son of a bitch, cashews come from apples." But yeah, cashew butter would be tasty as shit.
Oh. I want stoner cashew butter. That's what I want. Green butter green peanut butter that I can put on my toast in the morning with a little bit of infusion and like that green color. I'd be so happy. Put a banana on that shit.
Oh god, yeah. Okay, so you know how you ever take and make a grilled peanut butter banana sandwich? Right, you do it like grilled cheese style,
Mm.
right? Now where it gets tricky is if you want the shit really good, you got to grill the inside and the outside of the bread.
Mm.
So you got to you throw some butter right in the pan. You're going to try buttering the fucking bread, and you just toss that shit in there, and grill the inside of this motherfucker, and you pull it out with the two sides of the grilled with your banana all chopped up and ready. And then you got to spread that peanut butter on that hot grilled inside really quick and put it together. Now you got the raw bread outside, and you just slap another little glob of butter in the pan and throw one side in. And then when you go to flip it, throw another little glob of butter. And when I say little, I mean like we're talking about you need like a teaspoon-ish bit, just enough to spread around, maybe depending on how butter you want, and flip it over, and boom, by the time you're done, you just have this fucking melted mess of used crunchy peanut butter and shit of like grilled. I'm pretty sure it's what killed Elvis. Now I've also made a variation of this where you make the same sandwich, but you don't put bananas in. What you do is, if you have any idea how to candy bacon with maple syrup,
Oh yes.
you candy bacon with maple syrup, and you put that in the center of a grilled peanut butter sandwich. And if the bananas didn't kill Elvis, that did.
I've ate food. Food is like my other passion because
Really?
I went across Canada hitchhiking with a spice rack on my backpack.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a good way to get across Canada because
Why didn't you keep it on your upper arm, like in your bicep area?
because it was huge.
Well, you've got two biceps.
Biceps? Biceps.
It's from an H. John Benjamin cartoon, Bob's Burgers. Yeah. He wants to make a thing. It's like a kitchen prize as seen on TV, and he makes these spice racks for his upper arms, so while he's cooking at the grill, he can pull things in and out, and he calls them spiceps.
All I can think about with spiceps is like if like Arnold Schwarzenegger was going to like make a cooking channel. Welcome to Spiceps.
Now, give me the time.
Give me the chopper.
Here's some help. Have some parsley. Get to the chopper. So you were saying you were hitchhiking across Canada with a spice rack on your back?
Well, I had a metal mounted spice rack on my camping backpack, and it was full of like different jars that were all exposed that you could see what was in them, and it was on the back of my backpack. And I had a whole bunch of hot sauces and
Oh, jeez.
And when a trucker just bought something crappy at a fucking truck stop and he sees your spice rack backpack, you look
Yeah.
like a golden marker. It's like did I complete a quest? What?
I see. I wish I'd thought about this. I just used the George Carlin give head method to get across the country. Fuck me.
The rules of the road?
Yeah, the unwritten rules of the road. Oh my God, I could have just been carrying spice rack instead of fucking a jug of mouthwash.
That always for some reason that scene always reminds me of the joke. What's the only meat a priest eats on Friday?
Which?
None.
Oh, that's really fucked up. I've heard worse priest jokes. That's not the worst one. I mean, there are reasons that's bad. I have nothing that comes. I used to know a lot of just random jokes, but I have nothing that comes to mind right now. You know what it is? Later in the podcast, it gets harder to think after like dabble
More
clock
dabbly.
number 10 or 11 or 12 or whatever. I want to get back to the hard body training stuff you were
Yeah.
doing in the woods, though. You were
Pretty much. You can build most of the supplies on yourself, and most of the supplies are already built. You're your own supply to actually work it. Most of it's working with how you fall and the density of your bones. So you
Wow.
can be able to make your bones bounce back and ring out. You want to deal with the density of your bones because right now we're getting placid, gravity,
osteoporosis.
there's a lot of people that right when they get to their 60s or 70s or 80s, they lose like a lot of their calcium.
Well, we're not supposed to live that long according to nature.
Yeah, supposedly, like,
Yeah.
but we endure like nothing else,
Yeah.
and we're a species that loves punishment. We almost are sadistic for it.
We actually we thrive on our body releases endorphins every time you
Yeah.
endure punishment and then
It's
survive
growth
it.
for us.
Yeah, that's the whole rest of that Wim Hof thing. You literally body releases endorphins every time you are punished and don't die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly, and it's why we get that high from jumping out of a plane.
Getting spanked by a prostitute.
Or calming our body down in a situation that
Ooh, yeah.
there's a predator around and we have to do the fight or flight moment and we have to go and your heart rate stills for that second. You know
hope you can outrun that priest.
like there's probably a lot of people that have experienced like that moment where you see something that can endanger you. The moment a car is about to hit you, the predator in the forest, like a wild animal, bear,
Your spider sense.
that little calm moment where it seems like everything, the vision of your gets a little expanded.
The thing we lose staring at these fucking rectangles all the time.
And with the bone density training that I go through, it teaches you how to hit almost every part of your body and go over it and feel like it's not a hesitation on your body. And because once your body's afraid of things it doesn't understand, and when it's already gone through it, it empowers itself. And main reason why we look on our like a perfect parallel is looking back on bad times that we've had in our lives and laughing at them like nostalgia. It's like when it was going down, it was actually pretty harsh. There was blood, there was shit like that. But now we're laughing. He fell down the stairs.
You go through it. It's you have to learn from these experiences.
We kind of like we parody ourselves more than anything else in this world. I notice, and admitting that. And going with it, it's like a lot of different martial arts will tell you if you try and hit something, you'll hit it. You'll hit it. But if you try and hit past something,
Pai Mei shit.
Yeah, like
1-inch punch shit.
Or the concept that you are not hitting it and you are falling through it. That you don't need to move. That they're going to move a certain amount, you take a certain amount, and just let gravity do the rest.
There's nothing but empty space between all those atoms anyways.
Yeah. The concept, like, that blew my mind always, like, that nothing ever, even your own body doesn't ever touch your own body.
Yeah. When you get to the quantum realm, it gets just trippy. Yeah.
That's why being a comic book nerd, anime nerd, martial artist, like everybody's got their little diverse little things that they love. Like
I notice a lot of nerds do a lot of different and varied drugs. They don't drink a whole lot. They do a lot of varied, weird drugs. I love fucking Doctor Who. Except Peter Capaldi. I fucking cannot stand any of the Peter Capaldi shit. He's leaving too. Thank God.
Back to like that. I was talking about Datura earlier. Like I tried this drug. It's a natural thing.
The seed pod.
I will never tell anyone to go try any real drug for their first time. Maybe DMT.
That's not a drug. That's an awakening.
That's something you already have inside your pineal gland that's calcified because you've redundicized it. But back to Datura. It's a disassociate. It's like an outer body experience, but your body's on cruise control. So you kind of have this like.
It reminds me of ketamine. Ketamine kind of disassociates you from your body.
It's kind of like a K-hole, but or PCP ketamine.
I've never done PCP. I've done a lot of stuff, and now I'm too old to want to try. Like in my 20s, if they had wandered around at the right time, I probably would have tried it. But I'm a man in my 30s now. Seems like a weird thing to go smoke some Sherm stick and get shot at by the cops.
This Datura is disassociated in the way that I was sitting with my friends in a circle. I took it. It had a 15 minutes until it popped into my system.
Really?
I thought it took a lot longer than that to pop into my system. Really? I sat there as my friends were around, and I thought I was having inane, stupid conversations with these people for a good 6 hours of time that I thought was slightly like mushrooms. But what really happened is I stood up, I clicked, I went and ran out of the place. And I was only there for 15 minutes that in my mind was 6 hours of redundant, dumb, like it felt like being overly drunk.
That sounds like it's really taxing.
Yeah, I don't suggest it for anyone. It disassociates. I don't see the appeal.
Oh, I know. I did too much GHB one time and then threw up everywhere and then had to clean up GHB while drunk. And that's like having a sober guy control a drunk robot. It's like a sober like midget trying to control a drunk robot.
or
Trying to-
trying to see through two telescopes at once.
Oh, it was the last time I ever did GHB. It was 30 mils. I'd been doing 20 mils, 20, and so I was like, oh, I've got 30 mils left. What's the and I was like, no, there's a big fucking difference. It was wrong. It already tastes so horrible and out of nature and stuff. It is not on my list of things that I will knowing, like, I don't know, there's some people like, yeah, there's therapeutic GHB. I'm like, all right, well, that-
No.
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 Oh,
It's if
I
you
can taste it
don't
right
want-
now talking about it. I kind of want to
Like
throw up
that
a little bit.
Gurgle.
Oh,
Yeah. Okay.
I hope
but-
people listen to this and then they also taste it. Oh my god! And
But with did your like? I thought that 15 minutes was 6 hours, and
Jesus.
what really happened, I ran through the streets of Montreal, high out of my gourd, feeling people's space, like their area, like not them themselves, but just like around them from a
the
distance.
fucked up thing is nobody in Montreal would even fucking notice.
Yeah, well, the thing is, I knew a lot of people in Montreal, and they did notice me, and then they didn't see me for like a good month, and then they were all like, "Were you okay? We thought you died." Like-
Holy shit! Well, I heard there was a news story some years back about a kid in Germany who did a bunch of angel trumpet, right? Which is morning glory seeds. Right, and he brewed a tea, and then he used a pair of garden shears to cut off his tongue and his penis, right? And they don't tell you which one he cut off first, like that. So this has always been, I've always wondered this.
Like I in my head, it's like, did he had to like thought he could get it back by like replacing it with something else, or like
I don't know. You'd have to ask him about it, and he's probably going to use sign language,
yeah.
because I mean. Oh, it's always baffled me. Which one did he cut off first? All right, but this is apparently why people who do morning glory are supposed to be coached. Like, it's one of everybody I know who's done it is like, don't ever do it.
It's
And
a straight poison.
yeah, and apparently it's like a 3-day high, and it's like just the most brutal thing. And like, it's not. It is not one of the things you are advised to ever do if you're looking for nature drugs.
My friend has a bottle. It's about this big, and it has a giant fucking scorpion in it.
A giant scorpion.
Fucking a giant cobra that's like clutched up into it, and I don't know how they got it in there, but man, on the bottle it says it is a medicinal use for rheumatoid and lumbago. Can cause dizziness, sweats, and drunk euphoria. And
Sounds like 3 penis wine.
like, it sounds scary, and I have had like a half shot of this stuff while I was already a little dabbed out, and I don't know what happened. I'm like, no, I need to go to sleep or sweat or no. I threw a blanket on me, and I had the weirdest dreams.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but
I like drugs that give you interesting dreams. It's something druids used to do, where they would take shit and then they would go sleep out in dream towers, which were roofless towers, and fucking endure the elements and have fucked up visions come to them, right?
well, it was the same concept as a lot of the oracles that women oracles that they would used to like feed only a certain type of thing, and that would deprive them of a certain type of thing. And I remember a friend talking about me, but don't fact check me on it.
No, we advise you to never do anything we've said we've done without consulting a professional.
We are professionally good at professionally not doing anything professional.
Well,
Me.
there was a quote. It's about the Jesus Christ, the Palace of Wisdom. Oh, who's it by? There, they talk about it in the Party Monster movie. Road to Excess. just a second. We were talking about the German word thing, right? I'll just figure this one out.
Schadenfreude. I'm bad with mics.
You're bad. People like to text message me right as I go to pick my phone up and. And I have fat fingers. I need a dialing wand, really badly. There we go.
No, you need the Farnsworth finger longer.
Oh, it's a Blake. It's a Robert Blake proverb. The road of excess leads to the palace of wisdom. Yeah, because only once you've had too much do you know how much is too much, right? So, it's
I like to cut myself down a lot because a lot of people say that like absolute power corrupts absolutely. And any time that I really feel powerful is probably the weakest I am. And it's always wanting to achieve something more and feeling like that little I have a big mushroom tattooed on my shoulder because anything that grows out of shit and looks that beautiful, I got to give it credit. And it's kind of a mentality for me. I'm just a piece of shit that can grow something more.
Oh, wait, actually, apparently, I can't remember their fucking underground mitochondria. Whatever mushrooms are giant organisms. Hey, that they think there's like one huge one that spreads across a big part of North America. They're some trippy shit, right?
And like the fact that you could like some like spore groupings of like mushrooms of how they move are like social groups. It's like they kick things out and like
tasty mushrooms and there's kill you mushrooms. And there's
just
hallucinogenic mushrooms.
Just recently we had on the island death head mushrooms, which are very scary, and we had a few dogs.
Okay, so what, do they outbreak occasionally or something like that, or did
they're an invasive mushroom.
They were brought here on people's boots or something like that, from like people who picked mushrooms in one area and then didn't clean their shit up properly and traveled to another area. I wonder.
Yeah, you can traveling with other things could be latched onto other flora or fauna that somebody tried to bring in for topiaries or dumb shit like that, and but they got here and the few dogs got sick, few dogs died.
That's unfortunate. I love my dogs.
Yeah, and people that picked mushrooms, know your mushrooms, please.
Oh yeah,
like
yeah.
I love a lot of people in this town, and death head mushrooms, nasty as hell.
Nice. I think you know what, we're gonna close with that warning about death head mushrooms, Norm. That was pretty good, man. It's 4:08. I got to deal with a few things related to here, but thank you for coming on and being our guest. Awesome.